you start off by looking at the fourth quarter comeback. He led that drive down there. They obviously cap it off, but it becomes one of those deals where you're at an 11-point deficit, and the question has always been, can Lamar do this late in games when it matters most? Obviously, primetime games, Sunday night, everybody's watching, but it's more about him beating the Chiefs than it is about the fourth quarter comeback because he's done that before.
Totally.
It may have not been against the Chiefs, but he's had comebacks, whatever the case may be, in good games. But this one was a 3-0 deficit against the Chiefs, not being able to ever beat them, and then all of a sudden now no matter what my game plan is, whether it's throwing in the air or running on the ground, I have the ability to beat a team shorthanded.
Right, and I know the 11-point comeback was obviously the biggest for him in his career, but Key's right. I mean, beating the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes was the thing heading into this game.
But it was how he did it, and it was the fact that this team is depleted. I mean, when you got Tyson Williams, you got Devontae Freeman, you got guys that are just being signed.
Totally.
And I give him all the credit in the world. I think his impact goes beyond the stat line for how he leads his team. You can talk about 4th and 1, them going for it, that moment with Coach Harbaugh, and I get all that. But I give Greg Roman a lot of credit in this game. You see the way they picked on Chris Jones all night long? I mean, the Chiefs moving Chris Jones in that D-line to the outside. I mean, that RPO and that zone read, they were able to destroy them all night long.
The thing with the Baltimore Ravens is last night, and I heard it on multiple different platforms, the only way they're going to beat the Chiefs is if they kind of enter this game like, well, what do we got to lose? Because of all the injuries they had. You mentioned the running back room, their secondary was depleted, their offensive line had issues, so on and so forth. And I think the cards were stacked against the Ravens so much in that way that really, at least I didn't, going into this game, I'm like, how are they going to do this? How are they going to overcome it? Well, I'll tell you how they can because they have Lamar Jackson as their quarterback. That's how they're able. And a good defense.
I didn't necessarily think that they win the game. I thought that because it's just Kansas City and Kansas City has so much firepower and their defense is playing okay, that, it would be a good game. I didn't think that Baltimore would win, but I didn't say they couldn't win because I know how the NFL is. No matter what teams – a favorite, whatever the case may be, teams go into places and upset people all the time, or teams that have a lack of players, they upset teams all the time. So it's kind of like I can see with this type of athlete in the ability to do so many different things other than just traditional drop back passing. He puts so much pressure on the defense with his ability as a dual threat. You've got to account for him so many different ways. He threw a pass in the middle of the field to Hollywood Brown where it looked like he was going to run the ball. Then all of a sudden he stopped in mid-air and decided, I'm just going to play backyard boogie real quick. I got a guy who's wide open. Most quarterbacks would panic in that situation. That looked like Friday night football right there.
Yeah.
That looked like high school Friday night football. But I'll take that all day long if it's going to give me a W.
Hey, for sure.
But some people, like Jay say, they looking at that, they're going, that can't last in the NFL. Well, how many times are we going to keep saying that?
It's a wrap now.
Right?
This is what the Ravens do. They do things unconventional. They focus more on the run than they do on the pass, and it's worked for them. I mean, they were going to their second, third, fourth string running backs last night, pulling guys off the practice squad. I mean, there are worse options than Devontae Freeman, but I mean, come on.
But Shay, can I ask you this? I literally thought with 3.5 minutes left when Patrick Mahomes got the ball, I was like, this game is over.
This
game's a wrap.
Well,
there's too much time on the clock.
Exactly, because the Chiefs know how to win games. But apparently so do the Baltimore Ravens. We all assume that a guy like Lamar Jackson would want to go for it. And then the response in terms of, if they had Patrick Mahomes, they would go for it. Well, no, duh, right? Isn't that the response? Of course they would.
Most quarterbacks, most coaches in that position probably is going to go for it because of the quarterback on the other side. If you give him that ball back, there's no telling what he might do. So you just say to yourself, you know what, I'd rather not give him the ball back because I got something behind me. I just need to make sure. We know we want to do it, but I need him to talk me into doing it. And so Lamar was able basically to talk Harbaugh into going for it, even though Harbaugh, his mind probably was made up, but that's a good relationship between quarterback and coach. That's the communication lines a lot of people wish they had.
I just want to give Lamar a lot of credit for his mental toughness. I know that's a cliche that we say a lot in sports. But damn, he started the game with 2 interceptions, right? 15 guys in the IR. And in that moment, to have confidence in yourself to lead your team to a victory, that speaks volumes about him as a player and him as a MVP candidate.
Look, there was a 7-point swing like in the first 30 seconds of the game yesterday. It could have been a touchdown, and then it went the other way thanks to Tyrann Mathieu. But nonetheless, the Baltimore Ravens did get it done in a thriller on Sunday night.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.